And the Krueg Show podcast is back with you. And the Giants made a move today, adding Joc Pederson to the fold. Pederson gets a 1-year deal for $6 million. And with us to help us break it down and talk all about it is the man himself, Marty Lurie. Marty, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's a big day in baseball, huh? Look, this has only been a week, and look how many people have signed, and look what's going on. It's pretty wild for a week.
It really is. So why don't we, jump right in on the stuff that kind of applies to the Giants before we get to Joc Pederson. Chris Bryant signed with the Colorado Rockies. He got a 7-year deal for $182 million. I guess the question is, are you surprised? Do you think the Giants were in it? That's an awful lot of money for Chris Bryant.
Well, one thing we've learned about the Giants, they do not get involved with long-term deals.
No.
They won't do it. If Willie Mays was in the market, they'd say, yeah, I don't think we can do that, Willie. I'm sorry. That's just the way they operate. So I'm not surprised that Bryant had a market, as he's a good hitter, and obviously he's a good major leaguer. But it's the money today. It's $25 million a year for Colorado. They need an anchor guy. They need someone to get the fans back into it. So I'm not surprised that Colorado grabbed him. I thought maybe the Phillies, but they went for Schwarber. I thought maybe the Cubs could take him back, but I think they had burnt that bridge. They went for Suzuki. So it's not shocking to me that he went to Colorado. And the Giants were never, ever in it. They were never going to pay that kind of money. And it was clear Bryant was okay last year, but he wasn't the kind of guy you say, okay, he's our guy for the next 6 or 7 years. Not going to happen.
I really liked Bryant. We had him on the radio and talked to him. He's a great guy, and he's Vegas kid. So I thought maybe he would try to stay west, and he does. Right, he stays in Vegas, Denver, and Vegas. I mean, that's pretty close. But I watched him at third. Didn't love him at third. Watched him in left. Thought he was just okay. Saw him a little bit. I guess he played a little first. He was all right. Saw him in right. I mean, defensively, he's one of these guys, Marty, that Chris Bryant defensively can play a bunch of positions. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's really good at any of those positions. And I think that's kind of what I discovered last year is that, yeah, he's versatile. He can play everywhere, but he kind of leaves you wanting defensively wherever you put him.
Yeah, a little bit. And we saw that. But look, he's in Colorado. And look at Arenado, look at Trevor Story, who I think is still out there. I'd still consider him. I think that market is just going to fall apart for him. And the Giants maybe can swoop in at the end for Trevor Story with a similar kind of deal that they did with Pederson. Who knows? But he'll be in Colorado, Bryant. He'll put up big numbers, and good for him. And he's in the West, so we'll get to see him. It's okay. The Giants didn't get hurt by losing him. They did not.
Well, okay, let's hit on a couple other names before we get to Joc Pederson. One is Seiya Suzuki.
Yeah.
And I had thought that there was so much smoke around the Giants adding this player that I kind of thought it was almost kind of a fait accompli that this was just going to happen. And then when you read, hey, this team wants him and that team wants him, and there's a bunch of teams putting on a presentation. He goes to the Cubs. I didn't see the exact terms on his deal, but what did you think of Suzuki going to the Cubs? And are you disappointed that the Giants missed out on him?
Yeah, I am. I thought he'd be a perfect fit in the outfield. He would be a good draw in the ballpark. He looks like a muscular kind of hitter. And I was disappointed. I thought that would have been a good spot to pick up that bat that they needed. Plus, he's right-handed. The Cubs, it's a surprise because, look, they got Stroman, and now they got Suzuki. And those are two players the Giants probably would have been interested in. But the Giants were not going to get in a bidding war. They will not get in a bidding war with anybody for any player. I just don't believe that they're going to do that. They've got their players coming through the farm system, and they don't want to block them. And they will not go out for 4 or 5 years, 7 years. It's not going to happen. So the Cubs looked like they were rebuilding. Contreras was almost out the door, one of your favorites, you know that. And Now they went out and got Suzuki, and now they got Stroman. So they're still fighting. And look, it's a big market. I don't think you could just tear it down in Chicago and say, I'll be back in 5 years. I don't think you can do that.
Your fans are starting to weigh in here. Joe B says, Marty is a legend. And then our good friends, sons of Johnny LeMaster, they're asking, is Marty doing pregame on the weekends on the leader this year? Yep. Are you going to be doing pregame Giants this season, Marty?
Yep, absolutely. We will start this Saturday at 11 o'clock Pacific, and we've got 5 shows to do from Arizona. 2 full weekends, and then that last weekend there's only 1 game, I think, against the Dodgers on Saturday, and then day off Sunday, and then a couple of games with the A's, and then the team comes back up to the Bay Area. So absolutely, we're looking forward to it. Bill Lasky, Kerry Crowley, we've got Bruce Jenkins, Ron Wotus, we've got our people, and it's going to be fun. It really is going to be fun. This team is good. Their pitching is outstanding. Zach Greinke, another guy we talked about, went back to Kansas City, but he wasn't.
I saw that.
Yeah, he wasn't going to be in the mix for them. I don't think they needed him. They like power. They like strikeout guys. Yeah. Alex Cobb, I've talked to a few people around the ball club. Alex Cobb has got great stuff. Great stuff. He may be the sort of the find of this year if he stays healthy. Very good pitching. The bullpen is solid, and they don't need much. And we're going to get to the offense. We'll get to the offense. But look, how do you win today? You and I have debated this. How many years?
Yeah, many years.
Many years. Always say you need hitting. I always say you need pitching.
Right.
You and I have been on this for 15 years. We've been
exactly. Tony weighs in. He says, "Joctober, baby." All right, let's get to why you're here tonight, and that is the Giants have signed Joc Pederson, and they were in the mix for Pederson last year, but he went to the Cubs, and I was a little surprised by that. I thought, oh man, he'll come to the Giants. He knows Farhan. He'll come to the Giants. He went to Palo Alto High School. He's a Bay Area guy, right? Why is he going to go play at Wrigley Field? But he chose to go to Wrigley, and he had a decent year. Then they traded him to Atlanta, and he had a real good October. And I just think of this player as a guy who's, I think, a perfect addition. I'm shocked that the Giants got him for 1 year at $6 million. I mean, you just said it. They steered, did they give Gausman $100 million? No, they steered clear of that, and they got Rodon for 2 years at $22 million a year. Did they throw huge money at Suzuki? No. Did they throw huge money at Chris Bryant to return? No. What do they get? They get Joc Pederson on a 1-year deal, kind of a prove-it kind of a deal at $6 million. Give me your thoughts on Pederson and what he looks like in a Giants uniform.
I love it. He's 29 years old. He'll be 29, I believe, in April. He is a typical player of today. The guy's going to strike out like crazy. He's going to get a couple of walks. He's going to hit about 230 or 240, but he's going to take the ball out of the park. He's a decent defender as well. But look what Brandon Belt did, Larry, for the clubhouse last year. The whole thing with the captain and this is my ship and all this stuff. It was huge what Brandon Belt did. Pederson brings that into a clubhouse that needs colorful people. He brings that in. Come on. How about the pearls? Come on, the guy played.
Oh, yeah. The guy's got serious swagger.
Yeah, he played in pearls, and the pearls broke, and he had the jeweler flown out from L.A. for $25,000 or something to bring him new pearls.
Probably his family jeweler.
Come on, it's fabulous. He is a breath of fresh air. He's from Palo Alto. He played youth baseball. One of the investors in the Giants was his coach.
Really? Didn't know that.
Yeah, and they love him. They love him. He's good to his brother, who was challenged, that's severely challenged. And he's just a nice guy. He's a great teammate, and he can hit the ball out of the park. And it gives them a little bit of insurance now. I mean, you could always flip him over to left field if you have to and platoon him there. You can DH him. And if Lamont Wade is not the real deal, or Yastrzemski has trouble, or Duggar has trouble, you can put Pederson in center or in right. as a left-handed bat. I thought Conforto would be the one. I
Michael
really did.
Conforto.
But he may have a market. And as I say, it's going to be interesting to see what Conforto gets, because I think Pederson is pretty much rock bottom as far as the market is concerned. But he is perfect for the Giants, perfect for him.
Kyle says, Giants overachieved last year. Go Dodgers. Kyle, get lost. Now we'll take Kyle's comment, and like that, it is gone.
Kyle, let me tell you something. Everything went well for the Giants last year.
Yeah.
I don't care what they touched, it turned into gold. It really did. And then, you don't see that.
It was a magical year.
It was completely magical. And we'll see what happens. But they can pitch. I'm telling you, they can pitch. And the offense, they have their way. They got the 20 coaches. They have their way they approach the at-bats. They have as many people working for them as NASA has in the space program. They are so prepared that offensively, I don't worry that much. Hey, I thought maybe Solano would be a possibility.
Where do you go? Did he sign? Cincinnati. Any money?
I didn't see the money, but I imagine it's a 1-year deal, probably.
He's a good player.
Yeah, look, he could have been LaStella. Farhan said LaStella's not right. And, you need a second baseman. You can't put Flores there all the time.
So who's that going to be? When I saw that comment, I'm like, Brad Miller. I thought Brad Miller was going to be their guy. Why? Just because he's an offensive player. He can play second. But what do you think? I mean, who are the names you're hearing, or what names do you think make sense? Farhan mentioned a second baseman, that they may want to add a second baseman with some offensive ability.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's still out there, honestly. As
Jose Ramirez, let him play second.
Well, you mentioned that today. Trade for him. Look, if Cleveland wants to tear it down, why not?
Oh, he's awesome.
He's fabulous.
Yeah.
Now that would be a needle mover.
Yeah,
that would move the needle.
Seriously, that would
move the needle for the Giants. Believe me, that would be something else. So we'll see what they do, but you can't keep Flores there all the time. Estrada's got to be there, and they also need a backup at third base.
Mm-hmm.
And Gloria, he's got all sorts of issues all the time. And
Wilmer, maybe Wilmer there.
Well, you put him there, then you need who's going to be your backup second baseman? Estrada,
right?
With LaStella. So they still have some tinkering to do in the infield. I firmly believe that. But we'll see. He's got in 1 week, he got Rodon, he got Jacob Junis, he got Carlos Martinez, not the hitter,
right?
The pitcher, Carlos Martinez. Is it Jose Martinez the hitter?
Well, Jose Martinez is the guy. But there was Jose Martinez was the guy that I love. He went to play in the Mexican League.
Yeah, with Pablo. He's playing with Pablo.
Right. Now. He rakes, though.
Yeah.
Both those guys.
That's what he did in a week. He got Carlos Martinez, the pitcher, and he's got Jake Junis, who's a good swing guy, start and leave.
Killer slider.
Hard. And he got Rodon, who all of a sudden, everyone's writing about, hey, Rodon was the best pitcher on the market. Maybe he was.
Yeah. I think Rodon, if Rodon brings to the Giants the same stuff that he had in Chicago, watch the heck out, because he was terrific. His stuff ramped up. I hadn't realized that fastball was what it was last year. He brings that same arsenal into the National League and home games at Oracle Park. I mean, he could be a 15-game winner or better.
Yeah, and then Scott Boras will be thrilled, and we'll say goodbye to him next year.
Right, exactly. Then he'll opt out, and he'll leave.
Okay. That's okay, but give him a full year, and you don't need 6 or 7 innings out of him. Remember, the Giants go for 5 to 6 innings if everything's perfect, and after that, the parade starts with the bullpen.
Let's talk more about Pederson. You mentioned the flanks. He plays all 3 outfield spots. He's played center. He doesn't have a great arm. I'd say the arm is average, but he's got better than average range. And because of that, he can play center field. Where do you think the Giants will use him most this year in the outfield?
I think probably right field. I just have that feeling that Wade will shift over in the left position, and Pederson would play in right. This guy has been through World Series.
Yeah,
with the Dodgers, he's World Series.
Had a great 2020 playoffs with the Dodgers. Really? I was looking at those numbers, Marty. 2020 playoffs, you're talking about a guy who really did some nice things. 382 is what he hit with a 432 on base in the 2020 playoffs for the Dodgers. Those are huge numbers.
You know how many playoff games this guy has been in? I think it's something like 70. It's some ridiculous number.
Yeah.
Because the Dodgers are always in the playoffs, and he was
Right.
part of the Dodgers for all those years before he left. He's a big veteran presence. So I say right field. He kills right-handed pitching. I mean, the OPS against right-handed pitching is 890 or something ridiculous.
And last year, I'm looking at the numbers against righties, lefties. 265 against lefties last year, 230 against righties last year. But that was a little bit of an aberration. Those are not necessarily what his career numbers look like.
No, you want to see the power numbers.
Yeah.
And the power numbers for him, he kills right-handed pitching. And look, the guy can play. You know what he's done in October, under the biggest stage, and he hits home runs and he jumps around. And I tell you, I can't emphasize it enough, the color that he brings to a club that doesn't have it. And he brings it. And he and Belt, the two of them, they're both going to be wearing captain's hats, a sailor's hat. And, Belt will give him a rank. He'll make him, assistant admiral or something.
Right. You're corporal.
Yeah, I like Pederson. I really do. I think for what they paid for him and what they're going to get out of him and who he is in the neighborhood of the ballpark and where he grew up and everything else, I love the move. I really do.
You hit it right on the line. 79 career playoff games for Joc Pederson.
Come on.
12 home runs, 29 RBIs. Last year, he hit 18 home runs, 19 doubles, 61 RBIs. He hit 230 with the Cubbies. Then they traded him to Atlanta. He hit 249 with them. He's not a high average guy. He did hit a couple home runs last year at Oracle Park.
No,
but you know what? The other thing, Marty, that jumped out, he hit leadoff a ton last year. And he has really good numbers, as far as 364 is what he hit with the bags loaded last year, 327 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. But I was looking at the spots in the order he hit most last year. He led off more than any other spot in the lineup, but he also hit 5 a lot and he hit 7 a lot. Okay. So, he's a guy that I think in a lot of ways can be utilized at any part in the lineup, depending on how he's going and what the matchup is.
Yeah. Yeah. And he is a left-handed hitter. They're loaded with left-handed hitters. So it's going to be his job to take care of the right-handed pitching, which you see more of right-handed pitching than left-handed pitching. And he can do it. He could lead off. But his at-bats, when he connected, you had to worry about it.
That's got enormous power. He takes a huge swing.
Coming up. Yeah, you're going to strike him out. Believe me, you're going to strike him out. But his moments that and you said it, runners in scoring position, his moments, this guy doesn't shrink. He doesn't go, oh, my God, am I up?
Right.
Oh, no.
He cherishes the spotlight.
Yes, he does.
You can see that.
Yes,
you can see that. He thrives in the spotlight. And you know what? Not everybody's got to be a quiet guy looking at their shoelaces. You can have a couple guys over the course of a season with some serious energy and some swagger. You need that. You need that in a clubhouse.
Bill King said this when I first met him, 5 years ago. He said, it's nice to have a good ball club, but you need a couple of assholes. I can say that.
You can say it. You too.
That's what Bill said, and he was right. You need a couple of people like that on the team. Not that Pederson is that, but he brings the color that you described.
Yeah. What I love about him, what really stands out to me, is the crazy bat speed. He's got incredible bat speed. There's the one negative that I've heard on him is that he's a guy that loves to tinker with his swing, his approach. Well, so I'm really eager to see what the marriage of the Giants hitting coaches, who I thought last year were spectacular, can do with this player who likes to watch film and he likes to tinker and he likes to make adjustments and this and that. Can they get him in a comfort zone early in the year, despite the fact this is not a great yard for hitters, especially left-handed hitters, but can they, get through that, hurdle, get over that hurdle and get him comfortable? Because if he's comfortable and he's not tinkering left and right, man, I think they've added something. I'm shocked though at the price tag. 1 year for $6 million. I mean, that's a 1985 price tag. I mean, the fact that they got this kind of a player who may hit 20 home runs and may really be a key cog in their middle of the lineup for $6 million. I mean, that's incredible. It's hard to park and get 2 crab sandwiches at the yard for $6 million. Now you get Joc Pederson. I mean,
you have to go to Pig in a Pickle to get that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
That's right. You got to hit Pig in a Pickle.
Really, But, what can you say? He does strike out a lot, and he's not going to
flaws.
He's just not going to get that kind of play in the market. I guess
$6 million bucks.
Look,
that's a low number.
Look at Jorge Soler.
What did he get today?
Nothing.
Is he out there?
He's still out there.
Oh, he's another guy. He was the MVP of the World Series, wasn't he?
Why wouldn't you think of a guy? And I think Rosario was a Soler. Rosario.
Well, he was awesome. I don't know if he won the MVP, but he was great.
What about Soler as a right-handed hitter?
I love Soler.
Are they done right-handed hitters?
Don't they need a righty?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
I was kind of thinking that he may fall to the Giants. I really thought he would be the one.
Oh, I'd be ecstatic if they got Jorge Soler.
He's an athlete. Come on, the guy, he can steal bases, he can run, he's got a great arm, strikes out.
Yeah.
But,
hot and cold guy.
World, he's another guy. In this park, remember how Jeff Kent used to reach the seats here, and Ellis Burks and Richie Aurelia? In this park, Jorge Soler,
Love it. I would love Jorge Soler. What do you think right-handed bats? Okay, so Kyle Schwarber's a lefty. He signed with Philly. He's out. Chris Bryant was a righty. He goes to Colorado. He's off the list. Who's still out there right-handed bat-wise that intrigues you? Nick Castellanos? What are you hearing about Castellanos? Are they in on him? Is he going to San Diego? What's your guess there?
I think San Diego's got to seriously think about it. Because Tatis is out for 3 months.
Yeah.
And they're all the chips, James Holzhauer, how he puts the chips in on Jeopardy.
Right.
They're putting the chips in. And they could use Castellanos. That's a good call. Maybe the Padres. The Giants, no way. No.
I'm doing a thing tomorrow with the Dodger, David Vassay, who's a good guy, good friend. He does Dodger talk. He's on. I talked to him tonight. He says I'm on Freeman watch. I'm on Freddie Freeman watch.
Yeah.
Man, I was hoping Freddie Freeman would go back to Atlanta. Now they've traded for Matt Olson. That ain't happening. I've heard that he doesn't want to go to the Yankees. They brought Rizzo back.
What about Freddie Freeman's market? Come on, the guy has got to be saying, hey, the whole thing is a market. So what's left? Boston, San Diego,
Dodgers? He's an LA kid. He's a Southern Cal kid.
If he doesn't,
that makes me sick to my stomach. The idea that the Dodgers are going to add to that lineup, Freddie Freeman.
Well,
goodness, Marty. I mean, they're like on a totally different level. I mean,
he's 31. He's 31, and look, Olson got a contract for 8 years, and Freddie Freeman wants to be paid.
Yeah.
He's coming off a big contract, I think $135 million, something like that.
Great
but
player.
He wants to be paid. He's 31. He's a good hitter. This is not like a stiff-legged guy. If you say he gets to be 32 or 33, he's going to lose it. I think he's got more in the tank, like a Joey Votto kind of player. I'm surprised that his market just dried up, and he probably overplayed his hand a little bit, like Correa. Correa could end up going back to Houston for a year. That could happen. And Freddie overplayed the market a little bit. And let's see what he does.
We got people want to weigh in here. Scott Fowler said, did the Giants dodge a bullet, in your guys' opinion, by not signing Chris Bryant? What do you think? Do they dodge a bullet? I mean, they $25 million a year long-term for Chris Bryant. I'll answer that question for you, Scott. Yes. They dodged a freaking bullet. They dodged 2 bullets.
They did.
There's nothing bad about Bryant. He doesn't have weight problems, or he's not like he's a bad guy or anything. But that kind of money for what I think
he's not.
I don't like that contract.
He's not Bryce Harper.
No,
he's not a guy who can carry the ball club.
No.
alone. And that's when the Giants put down 25 million a year, it better be for a guy who can carry the ball club.
Yep. Andrew Thompson weighs in. Andrew, thanks for being a part of the show. He said, would the Padres think about trading Will Myers? Now, it
Yes.
sounds like the Padres want to trade Will Myers and Eric Hosmer.
Osmond
And
was
there's
dying to
another,
get rid of.
yeah, they're dying. Well, they're dying to get rid of Myers' contract too, I'm sure. I don't know if there's a way. I don't know that Farhan. There's no chance in hell that Farhan is taking on either one of those contracts. But Will Myers has had such great success at Oracle Park that if somehow you could offload a player in return, or they could eat some of that money, I'd be interested in Will Myers. I mean, the way he hits in that yard, he makes Oracle Park look downright small. He makes it look like a live hitter's yard. I mean, every time I see him there, Marty, he's raking doubles, homers. I mean, he turns it into his personal playground. I mean, Will Myers loves San Francisco.
Yeah, he sees the ball really well here. And there are parks like that and guys like that see the ball well in certain parks. Some pitch better in certain parks. Yeah, he would be terrific. But again, it doesn't really fit the mold of Farhan. He's got outfielders coming up. Is he going to take on this kind of 3-year contract, 4-year contract? I don't think so. I mean, Matos is the real deal. Ramos is hopefully the real deal. These guys are a year away, and I don't think you could jam up that outfield with guys bringing guys on 3 or 4-year contracts unless they're really special.
Scott weighs in. He says, I'd like to see a big right-handed bat added to try to replace Buster Posey, maybe Castellanos. He also mentions Trevor Story. Yeah. Is there any chance that Trevor Story could switch from the left side of the bag to the right side of the bag and be that second baseman, backup shortstop, backup outfielder, right-handed bat? Could they? I mean, is Story too big of a name, too large of a contract? How do you see Trevor Story and the Giants? Do you think there's a marriage there?
Absolutely.
You like that one? Okay.
And if this market plays out the way it's playing out, Trevor Story has no market, for the money he kind of wants. He may have to show that he could hit out of Coors Field, because the rap on him is, well, yeah, you hit, 30 home runs, whatever you hit, but 28 of them were at Coors Field. So that's the rap on Trevor Story. But defensively, no question. You could put him at second, short, or third. You could put him in the outfield. I think Trevor Story would be fabulous. If that market dries up for him and you could get him on a 2-year deal or something like that. They don't have any infielders coming up anyway, really. Luciano's a couple of years away. The corner guys, who knows who they've got. Toribio, these guys are a couple of years away.
Right.
Story fits because who knows what will happen with Crawford. Story would be a great backup. I like it. I would hope it goes on another week for Trevor Story and he starts to get nervous and he grabs a 1-year deal and the Giants grab him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a nice player. Andrew Thompson says Joc gets both cheeks into it. He'll be a great clubhouse guy. There's no doubt. I mean, Joc Pederson swings so hard, Marty. I mean, he's this guy. I'm eager to see what he looks like this year in a Giant uniform.
Hard, he broke the pearls.
Yeah, exactly.
He broke the string of pearls.
Let's get to some of these other guys. What did you think of Carlos Martinez? We talked the other day, and I think it was kind of before some of those moves. Carlos Martinez is interesting, Marty. Once upon a time, he's an all-star pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, starting pitcher, throwing 97, 98 miles an hour. Wow. Now he's had some injuries, but he's not old. No. He's 30 years old. It's not like he's 35. He's 30. He's 30 years old, and is he rotation depth? Is he a long man? Is he a bullpen guy? Will they shorten him up, trying to rediscover that velocity that he had? That one's intriguing to me because Carlos Martinez gets ground balls. As I said, he's not old, and he might have a little bounce back with the Giants in a pitcher's yard.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's a starter. I think we will see. I'll go on the record right now. You will see Carlos Martinez start a game for the Giants this year. There's no doubt in my mind. We saw Sammy Long, start a game. We saw Barriger start games. Carlos Martinez is a real pitcher. He just fell apart. He fell apart. And if they can get him back on on track again, it's the age is right, the experience is right. 2015, through 2018, a solid starting pitcher for the Cardinals, 30 starts a year. And then he went into the bullpen and had 28 saves, something like that. And then it happened. Then it fell apart for him. And it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. So this is, in sports, they say you need a change of scenery.
Right.
He needed a change of scenery, and he ended up in the right place. And let's see what they do with him. But yeah, live arm for sure.
Let's talk about Jacob Junis. I follow Marty Lurie on Twitter at Baseball Marty, and I saw the Junis signing come down, and it made me wonder. I wonder where that came from. And then there was your tweet saying that reminding everybody that Brian Bannister and Junis have a history together. You think that's cause and effect? Is that relationship the reason that you think Junis is a Giant?
I think so. I really do, because Bannister has enough contacts with Kansas City. Even though it's been a while since he's been there, the Red Sox were, after Kansas City. But absolutely, I think he's got contacts there. And if the people there said no, it would have been no. Bannister has his contacts, just like Ethan Katz. Ethan Katz is in Chicago.
Right. And great things to say about Rodon.
Yeah. And if Ethan Katz said, nah, don't get involved with him, they wouldn't have gotten involved with him. So, yeah, I think their research is important. And Bannister is the guru, the director of pitching, whatever they want to call him, player development, pitching development. He knows what he's doing. And I'm sure that Kansas City gave him a stamp of approval, and Bannister felt good about it. And Junis is a big arm. He's a strikeout guy. He's got a great ratio.
Yeah.
Strikeouts to walks. He can relieve. He can start. If you look in the encyclopedia on the Giants pitchers,
right,
this guy's picture is there.
He's got a killer slider. He's got a good fastball, killer slider, 2-pitch guy. I saw that he's tried to work in a cutter, try to get that third pitch, but he's basically a 2-pitch guy. To me, he sounds like a bullpen guy.
Yeah.
And maybe a good one. That's another name to kind of look for there.
Bullpen, let me say this. For years, bullpen guys go up and down. You very rarely see the Kenley Jansens of a bullpen.
Right.
A couple of years were good, and all of a sudden they can't do anything right. So the more arms you have like a guy like this, the better it is, because you just can't say Zach Littell and Rogers and all these guys will come out and do what they did last year. Bullpen guys are different. There's just something about them. That's why they're in the bullpen, because they don't have that consistency.
A couple more minutes with Marty Lurie before we let him get on with this evening. Joey Bart. What did you think of Farhan's comments about Joey Bart? It sounds very much like they're going with Joey Bart. Yeah. And one of the texters here on the side is saying GD5 says, your thoughts on Ricardo Genovez, who's also a catcher in the Giants farm system. They got Patrick Bailey, they got Bart, they got this kid out of Venezuela, Genovez. What are you hearing about the Giants catchers? What do you think the catching position is going to look like? It sounds like Casale's pretty jacked up from what I'm reading. He's been lifting weights. So they got a good number 2 at the major league level. They brought in the other kid at the minor league level as well. But Godoy. But what do you think as far as behind the dish now that Buster's not there? It's a huge, huge decision for this organization on how they handle behind the plate.
They have no depth at AAA. The people they have at AAA hit, at 120, that kind of thing. If there's an emergency, they can bring a guy up. There's no Chadwick Trump anymore. He ended up in Atlanta.
Right.
So Genovez will be in AA. And I'm going to tell you a story about him. And I went out to watch the instructional league, and I'm trying to think what year it was. I don't know, maybe 3-4 years ago. And he was in the instructional league, and I watched a game. I very rarely ever go to an instructional league game, obviously after the season. And I'm watching this kid behind the plate. And what do I know? I'm just someone who likes to watch baseball and compare things. This kid took over the game. He was like the captain on the field. He was moving guys around. He was doing this and that. He looked solid to me. I said to some of the Giant people, I said, wow, what about this kid? And they love him. And now he's like 3 or 4 years older, and now he's getting ready for the big leagues. Can he hit in the big leagues? We'll see. I hope he gets
What's his strength, Marty? Is he a catch and throw guy?
Yeah, he's a defensive guy,
okay,
as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
But let's see what he does in spring training. He's going to catch a lot of innings here because they got to take a look at him because it's not impossible to see him in the big leagues this year. So I'm watching him play. And then remember I said Ramos reminded me of Willie Mays?
Yeah.
Physically.
Talked about that last time.
Game that I saw Ramos. And he was playing center field, and he looked, stature-wise, he looked like Willie. But Genovese, this is the kid I said, wow. He took over the game. He was literally the Jimmy Garoppolo of this team. That's a joke. Come on, Jimmy Garoppolo. Come on.
He was throwing over. He was the leader. He was the leader
all day. Come on, you're going crazy on this. But he was a leader on the field. It was nice.
What did you make though of Farhan's comments about Bart? Because it made it seem like
they got to show confidence.
This is our guy. This is our guy. This is the catcher. Do you not believe that? You think that's just posturing?
No, he is the catcher. Right. He is the guy who could DH, but he's going to catch. And you can't equivocate and then tell the pitching staff, all right, we want you to throw to this guy. You've got to say these things. And you got to support him and give him every chance to be the guy and to, be the guy who takes over the pitching staff. So, no, I think the comment, you got to support him. You must support him because they got to pitch to him.
GD weighs in with cool story, Marty. Thanks for that nugget. Very good. Andrew Thompson says, looking forward to more Marty and Krueg time this season. You know how much I love talking ball with Marty. We seriously could do this at any day of the week, any time of the year. Yeah. I mean, seriously, it could be Christmas morning. I could be like, let's talk a little baseball. Matthew Mears says, looking at the Giants roster right now for the first time this year, I'm not feeling good vibes about this team. Well, I would say, Matthew, first of all, pump the brakes. The roster is not complete. They still have moves to make. I would say judge this team much more so by what emerges at the end of 17 games in the Cactus League and what it looks like going into the year. And then the other thing I would say is, man, we all thought the team last year was going to be 500. I mean, I thought over under, I was thinking, maybe 77 to 85 in that range. They won 107.
Yeah, I said 80. I said 80.
I mean, seriously, I thought maybe 80, 85 wins. I was wrong by 20 wins. 20 plus wins. I mean,
everything went right.
It was crazy.
Right.
It was an amazing year.
So we'll see, here we are. The first game is Friday. As I said, I'll be on the air this weekend.
Nice.
What do you want to get done in spring training? Just get out of here without getting hurt.
Right.
That's the deal. Just throw a couple of innings and, it's the first month of the season. The pitching is going to be very slow. They're going to bring it along very slowly. They need a lot of players. Just get out of here healthy. You don't need Brandon Belt getting hit on the hand. You don't need Crawford, pulling a hamstring. You just want to get out of here with no trouble. And don't worry. As Gabe Kapler says, you don't have to play 9 innings down here to play 9 innings in the major leagues. And what he means is, you could play 4 innings, 3 innings, 5 innings, and that's enough. When the season starts, we'll be ready. And that's one thing about Kapler. He was a player, and he knows that. But just get out of here with no trouble. That's the key. That's the whole key to this spring training for 3 weeks. Get out of here and get into the season healthy. That's the deal.
Every baseball team has a guy that last year was just okay, and this year is taking off. And conversely, every baseball team has that guy who was great last year and for whatever reason is going the other way. Give me a guy on either side of that, Marty. Give me somebody that you think's going to be better than they were a year ago. Give me somebody that you think, man, I think it's inevitable they'll backslide. Well, you got anybody in mind?
Well, this is a veteran team, so you never know where they are on the continuum, the time continuum of their careers.
Sure.
Belt could slide back, Crawford, Flores, Longoria. They got a lot of guys like that. I'm going to go with Joey Bart.
To take a step forward.
Yep. I think Joey Bart's going to hit. I think hopefully he'll catch. But that's the one guy. Yastrzemski, I don't know what's going to happen with him. Lamont Wade did not finish the season well. Ruff is older. Slater may be better. I like Slater. Duggar may be a little bit better. But basically, Estrada, you hope he can do the same thing. But you want guys, the older guys, at least to hold their own. But that would be the scary part for me. If it's Ruff, if it's Flores, Longoria, Belt, Crawford, that's the part that scares me. But if I had to pick one guy, I'd say Joey Bart. He's got every chance in the world to be the guy.
I'll go Yaz. I think Yastrzemski last year was pretty disappointing, to be honest. I mean, he never really got it going, hitting the 220s.
Did they outlaw the high fastball?
I mean, what happened to him last year?
They outlaw the high fastball, he'll be okay.
Yeah, he can't lay off that pitch.
He cannot lay off, and he
can't hit it. Yeah.
They threw it past him all year long. Now, you make a mistake to him, down and in, or a place where he can get the bat on the ball, and he'll knock it out. He will knock it out. So pitchers are not perfect, but he can't chase that high fastball.
We have got another one here from GD5. He says, I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I really like the Carlos Rodon signing. And if Carlos Martinez can be fixed, the dude is a recent former All-Star. So good. I mean, there's to me, I love the Giants pitching addition so far. And I like the Joc Pederson. I guess I want to know if they're done, because if they're done, then I'm a little skeptical, because I think this team, you lose Buster Posey, dangerous right-handed hitter, 3-hole hitter. You lose Chris Bryant, dangerous right-handed hitter, 5-hole hitter. You lost your 3-hole hitter and your 5-hole hitter. To me, they need another offensive piece to go with what they have. I was hoping for Nelson Cruz when we spoke last week. He signed with the Nationals. Talked about the Padres and Dodgers. Ultimately went to the Nationals. Castellanos would seem like a real good fit for me. But
why isn't this guy signed?
I don't get it either. And people were worried about his numbers outside of certain ballparks.
We watched him hit. You and I have watched him hit going back.
Purest right-handed hitters in the game.
You and I were on this when he was with Detroit. When we said this guy just crushes the ball to right center field. He is not just a dead pull hitter, a brain dead guy. He uses the whole field. He's a terrific hitter. I don't get it. I really don't get it with the DH now in the National League. How is this guy not signed?
Yeah. Two last things before we let you go, because I told you we weren't going to go an hour, and we're already almost at 40.
You said it would be 15 minutes.
I know. Well, times 3. All right, 2 last ones. What do you think of Tyler Beede? What's your expectation for Tyler Beede? That's see. 1.
Yeah.
Do you have a thought on him?
Yeah, let's see. He's
got great stuff.
He did have some moments before he got hurt. He did. He had some moments. He said, wow, the slider is there. He looked dominating. This is your chance. He's got to do it here. He'll probably start the season. Well, he doesn't have options, right? He's out of options.
I believe he's out. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got to, that's a guy we want to see.
Yeah.
We want to see.
So my Giants moles, who people, the guys that I know in the organization who are like, look at this move, look at that move. This move's bigger than what you think. Last year, the guys were telling me, watch out for Zach Littell. He's got better, we have high expectations for Zach Littell. And I thought at times Littell helped them last year. The 2 names I'm hearing that about this year are a guy named Caracidi.
He was here a couple of years ago, and then he got hurt.
Yeah, what do you think of him?
Very good. He's got
good stuff, supposedly, huh?
Yep, I want to see it.
Yeah. And the other one is Alex Blandino. Alex Blandino played for Stanford, had some injury problems, was a pretty high pick. He's a pretty good hitter.
He can all over. He's an all-over guy.
I think Blandino might be somebody to watch for this year.
Yeah, he could be. He's a AAA guy. He's depth. He's a depth piece. And, and Dubon, who knows what will happen with him. But, yeah, Blandino can work his way in. But this Caracidi, a couple years ago in spring training, he was terrific. Then he got hurt, and now he's coming back. And that's someone I want to see pitch. We'll see what they do this weekend. We'll see who they use this weekend. You can't go more than an inning, I imagine.
I know. Last one. So many moves across the game. So I'll just leave it totally broad for you. Give me something that happened in the game this week, transaction wise. Somebody coming, somebody going, a team stocking up on this or that. What move that you saw this week you kind of stood out to you and said, you know what? That's interesting.
Well, I think the most interesting thing is Freddie Freeman isn't signed.
Supposedly he's going to the Dodgers tomorrow morning.
Who says that been reported?
Well, I mean, supposedly there's a lot of reports. People are mentioning that, there's a number of printed reports saying that Freeman and the Dodgers are getting close on a deal.
All right.
So, talking to David Vassay earlier, he seemed to think, here it is. MLB trade rumors, Dodgers and Freeman making progress on a deal. Thank you, Romo 2001.
Yeah, okay. We'll see. But that, to me, that he's not signed was a big deal. That, to me, was a big deal. I guess the other one, the Phillies are trying. They're really trying. And I thought Schwarber, he ended up with a tremendous market. And he ended up with the Phillies. That was one that I said, wow, that's someone I thought maybe the Giants would be interested in. That was a good one, too. Pitching like Kenley Jansen's not signed. What about that?
Yeah, that's big.
How about that?
Here's the one that stood out to me. Toronto has Vladdy Jr. He plays third. They just picked up Matt Chapman. He's the best third baseman I've maybe ever seen. I mean, he's Mike Schmidt. He's Brooks Robinson. He's the standard for the third base play.
Yep.
Greg, yeah. I mean, this guy might be better than all those guys, by the way. Matt Chapman. Okay, I'll defer to you. Matt Chapman is in Toronto. Vladdy Jr. is in Toronto. I'm hearing rumors this afternoon that they're after Martinez, the third baseman for Cleveland. I mean, what? Toronto is like, what, are they going to play a shift with 9 third basemen?
Yeah, they got Kikuchi, Ryu. They got Gosman there. They are loading up.
They are loading up.
And what about, before we say goodbye, what about the A's? The A's? Come on, they got a good haul.
Marty, you were there for a long time. I mean, obviously you got a lot of friends who are A's fans who probably reach out to you and express their frustration. But I just, I guess if I was an A's fan, I would be like, you know what? I respect David Forst. I respect Billy Beane. But ultimately, I don't want to buy any tickets until you tell me what year you're planning on contending. And I'll buy tickets to watch you in that year. And I don't care about the year before, the year after, because I don't want to pay major league prices to watch 4A and minor league. And, they're basically a minor league system for the big league teams. And they just happen to be playing at the major league level.
They haven't even traded Montes or Minaya yet.
Yeah.
They're still sticking around. Yeah. A's fans are the best. I love A's fans. They're like old Candlestick fans. Yeah. That's what it reminds me of, going to the Coliseum. And they just get a raw deal all the time. Whatever the A's can do that it would be wrong, they do that. When it comes to the fork in the road, take the fork, as Yogi said. When they come to the fork in the road, they go the wrong way. It's exactly what they do all the time. They got a good haul from the Braves for Olsen. They did.
So? I mean,
Pache is
Christian Pache, little center fielder who can defend. He's pretty nice. Langoliers or whatever, right?
Yeah. So they got 8 new players, but when are they going to be ready for the big leagues? It's sad, and it's not sad. Right. It's not right. They're back on revenue sharing. All right. So they're getting money for revenue sharing, and now all of a sudden they're dumping everybody. I wouldn't give them the money.
Oh, I know. I mean, seriously, why? Why give them the money when their owner's the richest owner in the game, and he's going to take that money and put it in his pocket? Why?
Right.
It's not right at all. By the way, living in the East Bay and having 3 boys, we went to a lot of Giants games, but I'm a Giants fan. I'm an A's fan too. Now, anybody who knows me knows I'm a Giants fan, right? I'm not an A's fan. I'm a Giants fan. But I raised my kids as Giants and A's fans, right? Because I like AL ball, and we're out here in the East Bay. Yeah. So a couple of years ago, we were going through the garage. The kids have all gotten bigger, and I have Marty. I've got all these little Oakland A's jerseys. The jersey that's a T-shirt, and I'm looking at these, and it's like Piazza, Frank Thomas, Bobby Crosby, Nick Swisher. And it's like, I'm looking at these guys. I'm like, Crosby. Who's Crosby? It's like these guys come and go. They've had a ridiculous number of guys
they had
fly
Hudson,
through there.
Mulder and Zito.
Yeah.
And they got rid of every one of them and let Zito walk, and after being 23-5 or something. Yeah, it's incredible. I was there from 1996 through 2009. I saw it. I saw him win 20 in a row. I saw Art Howe, win over 100 games 2 years straight. I saw Giambi, Tejada. Tejada used to wear my T-shirt, the Marty Lurie T-shirt. He used to wear it in the clubhouse.
Nice.
I saw a lot of stuff. I really did. And it's unfortunate. They get a raw deal, the fans. The fans get a raw deal here, and it's not right.
Well, let's finish on that note. You are an enormously popular figure, by the way, Marty. Our video that we did the other day got, thousands of views.
Oh,
this is probably going to get thousands of views as well.
This is a good one. I like it.
Me and you talking baseball. There's just so many people out there who, and thanks to everybody here in the margins who commented, and we'll be doing the super chat when I build up enough hours and you guys can make your donations and that kind of thing. I'm looking forward to that. That should be a lot of fun. Yeah. Getting into the super chat. But I love talking ball, and I love talking ball with you, brother. And we can do it anytime you want. Any day, morning, noon, or night.
We don't sugarcoat it.
No.
You see, we're not cheerleaders.
No.
We're not cheerleaders.
Give me a G!
We're not cheerleaders. If you say, look, this guy is trouble, we say he's trouble.
Right.
This is refreshing to talk with you. And that's the way I approach on air.
Your show has been great for
a baseball person. And I want to talk baseball. I'm not here to be a cheerleader.
Who is the young lady that you have on your show who just has fabulous stats and information? You have her on, I think, once a week during the season, and she starts spitting out these facts. And I'm like, my God, that girl's good. She's just phenomenal.
Probably Melissa Lockhart.
Okay, and maybe that's it.
She's the best in the minor leagues. She knows everything.
Yeah.
Everything in the minor leagues. Yeah, we'll have her on a lot. Keith Law comes on.
Keith Law's good, though he never respects the Giants farm system.
How about Mark Simon?
Yes, Mark Simon's good. I'm a Bruce Jenkins guy myself too. It's like Jenks can do it. He can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. He'll say things that after he says it, you're like, yeah, I think that. But you know what I mean? Like, you don't know that you think it until he writes it. And then you're like, yeah, he crystallizes things so perfectly, man. I love Jenkins. And I got to be honest, my favorite segment of the week is Wotus. Last year, I blew out a tire in Walnut Creek. It was early on a Sunday morning, and I'm sitting there waiting for AAA. And I wasn't even pissed that I was sitting there because you and Wotus were going off about the game from the night before and all these little anecdotes about the team. And I love, first of all, I love how much he trusts you. I love how real Ronnie is. And then I just love his mind for the game. I mean, we all love the game. That's why we're talking about it. But I mean, Wotus brings it to life, and I really look forward to those segments.
Well, wait till Sunday.
He's incredible.
We talked about replay, and he's got a plan. And I said, this is the Wotus plan. You're going to be famous. He's got a plan on replay that it makes a lot of sense, which we will reveal on Sunday.
By the way, Matthew says, no cheerleaders, keeping it real, love it. And then Leonard, keeping me grounded. Not a baseball guy, but love you, Krueg. Oh, come on, Leonard. I'm not a baseball guy.
Come on, just listen to 54 minutes of baseball. So
I mean, are you serious? You got to be kidding! You must be kidding me! And we'll finish with this one. Marty and Wotus is awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right, that's good stuff. 55
Hey,
minutes.
I'm going out to the park tomorrow.
Oh man, and you can do some interviews for the show this weekend?
Probably not. I just want to go see what's what.
Is the access any better this year for you, or how's that going to be? Are you gonna have some chance that you can roll into the clubhouse and do some interviews, or is that not?
If I want to, you know, we've talked so much about the players and everything. I'm not that interested in saying to Yastrzemski, "Hey, how do you feel about the high fastball?"
Right.
I mean, I think it's more important to talk about the game itself. But I want to see the players and talk to them, but I don't think I'm going to chase them down like the old days. I'm not.
Yeah, you don't got time for that. They should be chasing you down. If anything else, Marty, I want to be on the show. All right, Marty, great stuff.